Okay, I think we're gonna get started now. So welcome everyone to the first WISE webinar of the year. I'm super happy to see every one of you here today, and I hope you can learn a lot from this webinar. So before we begin, I'm just gonna provide a brief introduction of this organization. So WISE Youth is a financial literacy organization hoping to provide students globally with resources to learn and grow their financial skills. So I know many of you are probably students here and are probably hoping to pursue a career post-secondary in a business-related field or are currently exploring and thinking about it. So I hope that this webinar can benefit a lot of you. So for today, our guest speaker will be David Zhao, who is currently a second-year university student at the University of Toronto studying psychology and economics. David will do his own proper introduction later, but before we get started, I wanted to let everyone know that questions are absolutely welcome here. So please feel free to drop in any questions throughout the webinar in the chat box or Q&A function in Zoom. And you can also save your questions for the end because we'll have a short Q&A session. Additionally, I want to let everyone know that this webinar will be recorded to provide for students who cannot make it today so that they can also learn from it. So if you're not comfortable with having your base distributed to other people, it's totally okay to have your camera turned off. So without a further ado, I'm gonna hand it off to David now, and I hope everyone enjoys.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. As Queenie has mentioned already, my name is David, and today I'll be presenting to you guys the psychology of money and specifically the common biases and their impacts on financial decisions.
Your mic is off, David.
No way. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Let me restart. Thank you for having me again. As Queenie already has said, my name is David, and today I'll be talking to you guys about the psychology of money, specifically the common biases and their impacts on financial decisions. As Queenie has said earlier, my name is David, and I am currently studying psychology and economics as a second year at the University of Toronto. I'm also a Sentinel alumni from the class of 2022. So if those of you guys who recognize me, it's probably because I went to the same school as you guys. So today we'll be covering three main points: the sunk cost fallacy, which is being swayed by past commitments; confirmation bias, which is seeking information aligning with personal beliefs; and herd behavior, which is making decisions based on collectivity. Sunk cost fallacy. So what is sunk cost fallacy? To understand sunk cost fallacy, we first must understand what sunk cost is. For those of you guys who don't know, it is the resources that you have spent and used and which it can no longer be recovered no matter what. In financial terms, it means making decisions based on investments already made rather than potential future returns. Simply put it refers to the phenomenon where people continue to invest due to the amount of resources already committed. For example, imagine you have decided to invest a large amount of money into your company's research and development department in hopes of creating a new product. This money you have invested cannot be recovered, and the entire amount will be used for research and development. That money is now a sunk cost. After the initial development, your workers have approached you and said that there is a superior product on the market and you are now faced with a decision of either to continue to spend more money to catch up with a superior product or to let the money go to waste and use their product. When looking at this example, if you were a rational business owner, you would let go of the sunk cost, no matter how much you have spent, and stop the development immediately, as it will prove to be unprofitable in the future returns. However, we often find it difficult to forgive and forget the money we have spent, and thus many business owners are frustrated when it comes to these decisions. This brings us to our first point, which is to not get swayed by your emotions and stay rational. Consider the benefits and costs. The sunk cost fallacy does not just apply to business owners, but to your daily lives as well. Things like buying a set of rackets for tennis and feeling the need to use it due to the money you have already spent. Although a simple example, I am sure some of us, if not all, have come to be subjected to this fallacy. Next, I will show a video that will provide some examples that you could perhaps relate to. Does the audio work? Can you guys hear it?
No, the audio isn't working.
No? Oh, no. Okay. Maybe I open it here. Can you guys hear it now?
No.
No? Interesting. Wait, let me just try to share my screen to that. Can you guys hear it now?
No.
No? Oh man. Okay, you know what? We'll just skip the video part. I'll just give you guys a brief idea of what he talked about. So basically, he gave some more examples. One example was at the beginning about the fish, where the fisherman throws out the fish that have already gone bad rather than trying to sell that for profit, because the customers won't buy the bad fish anyways. So why would he waste his time keeping the fish there, taking up storage space, rather than just throwing it out and only presenting the good fishes? So we'll be moving on to the next bias, which is confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is the tendency of individuals to favor, seek out, and give more weight to information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs and ignoring information that contradicts them. It leads us to skewed decision-making because it creates a distorted view of reality based on one's preferences rather than objective analysis. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of this term, as it is often brought up alongside with social media platforms, with their algorithms promoting confirmation bias through recommending users with information based on their previous history. Now let's take a look at how this not only affects students, but sometimes corporations and large companies all over the world. Before the success of Apple iPhones, the market was largely dominated by BlackBerry, a predated cell phone company that no longer sold iPhones since 2018 due to their poor decisions, and they have thus been completely eliminated from the phone market. So what led to the problem for BlackBerry? It was mainly due to their confidence, which made them believe that their successful decisions so far will continue to be followed by with the market trend. And they have ignored the present market trend at that time, which is more focused towards touchscreen and multimedia capabilities. They believe what made them successful will continue to make them successful. And their selective attention and ignorance allowed the company to continue to follow this trend. They downplayed the appeal of iPhone and Android smartphones because they believed that ultimately the market trend will revert back to what BlackBerry had, which were these clunky phones with physical keyboards, which nobody uses anymore. So what were the consequences due to their ignorance? So in the following years, BlackBerry's market share for the phone market completely dropped to almost 5.9%. And they eventually figured out the mistake they made. However, it was too late, and the newer phones were far too advanced for them to catch up. This is a perfect example showing the effects of confirmation bias and how it completely changed one of the largest companies in the world. With their fixed-mindedness, they were unable to see past their business strategy and severely underestimated the shifting consumer preferences. To combat this bias, we should always seek a diverse amount of information and opinions so as to not be fixated on our own experiences. Having awareness is also important, as recognizing its potential influence is also a crucial step to mitigating its effects. It can also be helped to seek feedback and look at both sides of the argument, identifying both the pros and cons. By using these strategies, we can work towards a more balanced, fair, and accurate assessment of information leading us to better decision making, sorry. Since the videos don't work, I will briefly sum up this video as well. So basically, the person on the left is a priest, and the person on the right is an atheist, so someone who doesn't believe in religion. They're good friends, so they're talking, but they are arguing between whether God exists or not. So the person in the red shirt brings up that a couple of days ago, he was stuck in a snowstorm where he basically felt that there was no hope left, and that's when he decided to pray to God. However, in his defense, he believed that God did not help him, as he was saved by, I think it was the indigenous people living in that area. I forgot their names exactly, but he believes he contributes his safety to the indigenous people, while the priest argues that it was God who led these indigenous people to help him out. So this is where different people with different backgrounds, different experiences, and different upbringings can lead them to different types of perspectives on the same scenario. And that's where confirmation bias comes to play, because if the priest, he's always known that God is all good, and he has always believed in God. So when a scenario comes up, such as the one that the red person describes, he attributes it to the God. Meanwhile, the person in the red shirt, since his upbringing he's always been an atheist, and he's never believed in God, he would attribute the experience not to God, but to the indigenous people who came and saved him. Sorry. Finally, we'll be talking about herd behavior. So herd behavior refers to a phenomenon where individuals mimic the trade actions of the majority or a particular group, often bypassing their own analysis. It occurs due to the human nature's tendency to conform with a group and a fear of missing out, which leads to the actions that follow along with the herd. It is not limited to just financial markets, but also a common occurrence in our everyday lives. For example, why is it that when we go on vacation or visit an unfamiliar place, we always choose the most crowded restaurant? Or why is it that we always follow the popular trends on the internet? These are examples where we follow the majority due to our perception that it is the best option since everybody is doing it. Now here's an example where following the herd led to a disaster and one of the biggest financial crises in the history, the dot-com bubble. So during the 1990s and the early 2000s, large amount of investors heavily invested into internet-based companies or dot-com companies. While some were thoughtful investments, many were justified purely based on the trend of others' success, such as the early investors who made large amounts of money, the media who were hyping the companies, or the belief in the new economy, which overshadowed the necessity to check financial metrics. This large amount of investing eventually led to the bubble bursting, causing significant financial losses for many, as shown on the graph with the downward slopes between 2000 and 2001. Due to the unstable nature of many of the internet-based companies, many investors sold their shares, leading to the stock price plummeting. The craze around the dot-com companies led to many irrational investment decisions, creating a financial bubble and the subsequent crash. However, this behavior isn't necessarily disadvantageous, as it protects us in many different ways, hence why herd behavior still exists. From an evolutionary perspective, the reasoning for herd behavior is simple. When facing a dangerous situation, being in a group is always better than facing it individually. Hence why this not only exists in humans, but many other species of animals. From a human interaction perspective, adopting behaviors that are popular with a social group can also strengthen bonds and create feelings of belonging. Following a group isn't always bad, and I would actually argue that it does more good for us than bad. However, this is why critical thinking is very important. If the group were to have made a mistake, those who blindly followed will also suffer the consequences, like the dot-com bubble. But those who reconsidered their investment and corrected themselves had the chance to escape. We are complicated creatures, and while there are benefits from crowds, there are also negatives. We will now watch it. Oh, sorry. Since the video doesn't work, I'll also explain this one, which is a psychology experiment done by Solomon Asch, and it is called the line experiment. So basically, the participant is given a test. It's a very easy test where they compare one line to 3 other lines and then ask you whether this line is bigger than them or smaller than them. So as long as you understand that your line is bigger or smaller, you will get these right. However, the trick to this is that the participant will answer these questions along with other participants, but they're actors, so they are forced. They're faking their results. So perhaps let's say line A is bigger than line B, but the research participant, the other participants that aren't the participant, will all say that B is bigger than A, although it is very obvious that A is longer than B. With this sort of like majority swaying the decisions, the participant often conforms with the majority and this goes against its own judgment and also says that B line is bigger than A line, although it is not correct. And the experiment ended up with, I think it was a 5% chance that when there are 3 or more people, you would go against the majority, meaning that despite these participants knowing their answer is obviously wrong, they're willing to forgive their answer and conform to the majority rather than going for their initial answer, which would be the correct answer. Okay. So in summary, I hope that today's presentation, everyone was able to learn something new and perhaps may even apply some of this learning to your daily lives. The biases we talked about today are only a very small portion of the different applications of psychology concepts in the financial world. And if you're interested in this topic, I would recommend the book Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, which talks about other topics that weren't covered today. We will now be playing Kahoot, and the Q&A session will begin right after the game. For those of you guys who don't know how Kahoot works, basically you have to go on the website called kahoot.it, as it says on the... Like, Queenie, is there a way to highlight what I'm saying?
Wait, what is
Oh,
highlight?
like I want to show them that the link is right there.
Oh, it's okay. Guys, the link for Kahoot, just www.kahoot.it. I'll put it in the chat box.
Yeah. Oh, I missed the Bean's direct message, which was to turn the audio on. Uh, Thanks, but I saw it too late. But you guys, I can link these videos on the chat later for if you guys want to watch it on your own time. Yeah, thanks, Queenie. So for those of you guys who haven't played Kahoot before, I'm not sure how many there are, but Kahoot is basically a sort of quiz at the end of a presentation that a lot of students like to do, where there's going to be a question and it could either be a multiple choice or a true or false. It's purely for fun, so there will be no awards given if you win. Are you going to participate as well, Queenie, or are you just going
I'm
to
already in.
watch?
I'm already
You
in.
are? Okay, okay. Uh, should we wait for everybody to join, or just
Um,
you
I
can
don't.
join if you want. If you don't want to, you can just watch.
Maybe let's wait like one more minute.
Okay. I'll
See.
wait till 8:25 then. Yeah, the questions will be on my screen. Okay. Last chance, is anyone joining? If not, I'm gonna start. Oh, really? Sorry, let me set this up. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yeah.
Player limit reached. Oh no. uh okay. For those of you guys who haven't joined, I'm sorry, but we're just gonna have to go with what we have right now. My screen is black. What? Try exiting out of screen share. Okay, is it only an issue for Bean then? Yeah, I'm gonna skip then.
Maybe explain it again because a few people got that question wrong.
Okay, so I can't go back anymore. But basically, I think I saw a couple of people answering it is being swayed by future decisions, future commitments. It's not, because it's based on what you already have given. And that the commitment you've given cannot be recovered anymore. So that's why it's not a future commitment, because you haven't made that commitment yet. And I'm not sure what other people answered. I just saw a lot of people answering that one. I'll give it till 30 seconds and I'm gonna skip. Okay, so yeah, herd behavior is correct. It was the last video I was gonna show you guys, but it didn't go through. But yeah, it's basically the Ashes experiment and the dot-com are both examples of herd behavior and conformity. Good job to everybody who got it right. I think there are only 9 participants, right, Queenie? So I'll just skip whenever it gets to 9. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll go with 10 answers this time. Nice. Okay, almost all of you guys got it right. I'm guessing if you chose false, it was just a misunderstanding with the question. If that's correct. Everybody's answered. Oh, okay. So yeah, the red one's a trick answer because it says it goes against the personal opinion rather than supporting the personal opinion. So confirmation bias is seeking information that supports your own opinion and ignoring information that goes against your opinion. Yeah, goes against your opinion. And yeah, whoever chose the orange, you guys are just playing along with the joke. So if you're using your phone, you're supposed to look at the question on my screen, and that's how you choose which answer. And because my screen will display the question and also show the 4 options you can choose. I'll give it 10 more seconds. No? Okay, never mind. Everybody answered. Oh, sorry, I skipped that. Apologies. We'll just move on. I'm sorry, Bean. Yep. Nice. Almost everybody got it right. Red and green are just incorrect because they have nothing to do with herd behavior. It's talking about farming. Nice. Everybody got it right. So her behavior is beneficial in an evolutionary perspective because earlier I said that when facing danger, it's usually better to be in a group rather than facing it individually. So that's why it's true. We'll wait for 10 answers and then we'll skip. Okay, we'll just wait till there's 10 seconds left. Okay, so when you want to avoid sunk cost fallacy, you would consider the future costs and benefits to your decisions. That's why orange is wrong because it's saying you're not considering future costs and benefits. And I think there's one question left. Yes. So 10 seconds again. Nice. Okay. Everybody got it right for the last question. And the podium. Congratulations to MH for winning, and good job to everybody else as well. So that would be it for Kahoot. And we'll now do our Q&A session.
Okay, so for this, I think if people are a bit shy, they can type it into the chat box or the Q&A function, or I guess if you have any questions, you can just open up your mic and ask David directly.
Yeah. It could also be any question. It doesn't have to be related about the presentation. If you just have any personal questions for me, I'll gladly answer anything. Okay, so have you ever encountered any of these biases in your life? Yes. So for sunk cost fallacy, the tennis racket is actually based on what I did. So I bought a set of tennis rackets, and in my head, I already thought that I should keep playing tennis because I've already spent the money and I've already bought the tennis racket. But actually, I didn't really want to play tennis. So that's why it's a sunk cost fallacy because I'm continuing to play tennis due to the fact that I've already bought a tennis racket and I can't return that tennis racket anymore because I think it's past their 30-day return policy. So yeah. For confirmation bias, yes, I've also encountered that because I mean, just scrolling through the internet, right? You sometimes get led to different pages that eventually just guides your For You page to be specifically what you are interested in. And her behavior, I also believe so, just because usually you just follow your peers. and you wouldn't really go against them. So that's how I say I follow, have been encountered by her behavior as well. How is the job market for the combination of psychology and economics? So I'm not at the job application part yet, but psychology and economics can be used for marketing. If you're doing HR, it's also not a bad job. Personally, for me, I'm interested in human resources, but economics is not the best. So I might also do psychology and philosophy, just depending on how economics works out for me. How did you know? How did you decide on your major in university? How did you want it? How did you know you want it? How do you know it was what you wanted to do? Okay, sorry. So I've always been interested in psychology. I think it's a big something I'm really passionate about. And economics was just kind of something I put in as well, just because I felt like it was good for my future with my career and job applications. But now that I'm actually considering it, I feel like philosophy might be better. Hey, would you say the 2008 financial crisis is also an example of herd behavior? Yeah, I would say so, because that was a housing crisis where people were buying a lot of houses, right? And I think their confidence for buying houses was due to uh obviously it was due to the low interest rate, I think, at that time, but also due to the fact that I think everybody was buying houses at that time, which eventually led to the crisis. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I am not too sure. Do you spend time half versus half for these two majors? Okay, so in the University of Toronto, you're actually required to do either two majors, a specialist program, or one major and two minor. Whether you spend your time half-half depends, because there's only a certain amount of required courses for each program, meaning you don't have to spend all your time doing psychology and economics. So right now I'm taking a beginner intro class to computer science. I took Spanish last year. So you still have the freedom to choose what you want to learn, because there's not that many required courses for psychology and economics. Any study tips? Okay. Uh, I would say, to begin with, taking good notes is a very good start. If you have good notes, it's easier to study. I personally like cue cards a lot, so I have Quizlet. I use that a lot. Um, Practice test is also good, but I'm not sure if you're always provided with that. Like for final exams, they usually don't provide you with a past exams, because they use a lot of similar questions. But term tests and midterms, they will. So I like to practice a couple days before the test as well. Why do you think the job market for philosophy major would be better than for economics? So uh, I don't actually know if the job market is better for philosophy or economics. It's just that philosophy is more aligned with psychology, which is what I want to do. So yeah, that's why. If going to higher education, which master's programs can you apply for? Uh, I am not sure. I have not looked into higher education, master's, doctorate, because I'm currently not planning to. Maybe eventually I will, but right now I haven't looked, which I probably should. Yeah, I probably should. Okay, if there's I'll just one more. What were your ECs in high school? What is an EC? Like extracurricular? Is that? Yeah. Okay. Well, I was on the swim team. If you guys know the West Van Otter Swim Club, I swam there for 8 years, I believe. Basically, my entire high school, I was a part of the club. I was. I also participated in some school clubs, but I'm not too sure which clubs they were. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been 2 years. How useful do you feel to learn psychology? Um, I mean, I think first of all, it depends on your interest. I'm really interested in psychology, so when I learn psychology, I find it really applicable to my daily life. I feel like a lot of the concepts I read, I learn has already happened in my life, and that's why it's really interesting to learn it. The usefulness, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Would you agree that it's useful to study psychology for any major? Uh, I mean, I guess if you're talking about like understanding how you're feeling or like helping you study, it could be useful, but I think the majority part of psychology doesn't really teach you how to study and how to be a good student. It teaches you more about why we behave a certain way and how we behave that way. But yeah, I would say I have learned some ways to study through psychology. Does that answer the question? Okay, great. How useful do you feel to learn economics? I mean, currently, I think learning the intro to economics, that was pretty helpful because it gave me a baseline of understanding to how sort of economics works. Whether I want to pursue it in the future, I don't know yet. Just because I feel like philosophy would be a lot better with psychology rather than economics. Wait, did you take any AP or IB classes in high school? Yeah, I took a couple. I think I took Sentinel had the AP seminar and AP research. I took that, which also meant I took AP literature and AP language. I took AP calculus, AP statistics, and AP psychology. I think that's all I took. Is university easier than high school or the other way around? Um, I actually quite enjoy university. I think it's a lot better than high school because high school is like a fixed schedule. You gotta go to class from 8:30 to 3 every day. It doesn't matter. But in university, I have the freedom. So I usually don't choose early morning classes. I like to sleep in. So I wake up around 9 every day. I go to my classes. The class is usually around an hour to 2 hours, and tutorials which are basically like uh I guess like mini study sessions. They're usually also an hour. So I find university easier just because you get to make your own schedule. But if you find that difficult, then I would definitely say university is harder than high school. Just depends on what your study schedule is like and how you like to structure your day. Is it difficult to enter these two majors in UT? So psychology and economics are part of the faculty of arts. which I wouldn't say is competitive in Toronto. I would say that computer science and not economics, engineering are a lot more competitive than getting into the faculty of arts. So, I mean, kind of not. I feel like there's a lot more people who had a lower grade average than me who got into arts. But comp sci and engineering are a lot harder. They require pretty high GPAs. Is math very important for these two majors? No. So economics might require some later on. You might do some statistical analysis, but nothing compared to computer science and engineering. Computer science does a lot of math. Same with the math major. They also do a lot of math. And yeah, engineering does a lot of math as well. Not for psychology and economics. Is anybody applying to university this year? Is that why there's a lot of questions? Are you guys grade 12s? Okay. If there's no more questions, we just let's just say yeah, okay, Queen Eagles.
Yeah. So if there are no more questions, thank you so much to David for coming in today and giving us a great presentation on the psychology of money. So I hope all of you who listened today gain a lot more knowledge about this and can apply this to your daily life as well. And maybe you'll be interested also about to learn in psychology or economics, just like David. And And also, if you have any further questions, I don't know, David, if you want to like leave your email or something just to see if like any of the students, if they have any further questions, they can also contact you directly. And other than that, I think today that will be the end of this webinar. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Do you want to leave it in the chat box, David, or no?
Oh, the videos?
No, no, no. If you want to leave like your email or anything so that if they want to
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah.
if they have any other further questions. Oh, also if you want to leave the links to the YouTube videos, if anyone wants to watch it.
Sure, I will. Oh. Also, thank you, Daniel, for the message. I appreciate it. And also, if you guys want to contact me, you can also contact me through Instagram. Let's put that down as well. For those who don't use email.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just give a few minutes for anyone who wants to get that info.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the videos right now.
Oh, also for those who are still in this webinar, we'll also be having our second webinar next week. It'll be Saturday as well at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to come in again, we'll have a second guest speaker who's also a founder of a nonprofit based in the UK. So if you're interested, totally come and join that webinar as well.
So final video.
So the links for the videos that did not play during his presentation are now in the chat
Yeah.
box, as well as his email, and Instagram username if any of you guys want to contact him for any questions relating to the presentation or like university, because I think a lot of you guys are thinking about applications and are stressed out probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So
If you guys have anything to ask about like what grade point average you need to apply, I think I can answer some of those. Also out of the YouTube videos, I would recommend to watch the last one, which is on the experiment. I think that's most interesting. Yeah. Thank you for having me, everybody.
okay, thank you so much for coming today, David. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you everyone for joining. So that'll be the end of today's webinar. Okay. Thank you guys.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.